So here we can see one of my latest swords I've got. In fact, I bought this in 2023, but it's just taken me 2 years to unbox it for various reasons. But let's have a closer look at this sword. It is a Romano British, or very early migrational Anglo-Saxon sword, and it's quite unique. I'm sure you'll agree. Now, the first very unique thing about it is it's got a wooden pommel and a wooden crossguard, which is very unique. But how long would that survive in battle when being bashed with a sword? Personally, I prefer a metal crossguard. But it's got a very nice handle as well. Looks like it's made out of oak, if you ask me. That definitely looks like oak, a good quality wood. You can tell by the grain. And this is a sharp sword, and it's made and sold by CelticWeb merchant. And I'm sure you agree that's a lovely, lovely blade. It's just got a very slight flat hollow on it. You can't really see it, but I can see that it's slightly hollow, very slightly. So it's not a fee section or a fee groove. It is definitely a typical blood groove and a typical fuller, but more on the flat section rather than being a hollow one like you'll see on this sword here. And here we have another sword which has the fee section, which we'll talk about in another video. But I'm sure you agree this is a lovely, lovely sword. Again, this was on offer. I think I paid just over £100 for it. I think it was 110 if I'm correct. And also, if you look at the end, it is riveted over, so you know also that the sword is going to be very secure and has been fastened on really nicely. And I like that feature. That is a very nice feature indeed. And let's just have a look at down the blade itself. One of those looks and video views you don't often see. Of course, you could jazz it up by putting some nice inlay wire of bronze or brass or copper in here twisted. That will make it look quite nice. And the same here and the same there. Or entirely you could take it off and put yourself some brass plates with some mountings on it, and maybe even some nice enamel if needed be. You can buy these parts for swords. Not that I intend to do that. I'm going to leave it the way it is. It's got a good length, comes with a nice scabbard, which I will show in a little minute or two. Again, it's got a sharp profile, but it's not sharp enough to cut your fingers. So again, it's not for combat. It is not a combat blade, it's a display blade only. But do you think, you know, you go back 1500 years, back to the 6th century, this is the type of sword that would have been around. What I also like about it is that it's got a wide blade, which slightly tapers off to a point. Now, unlike this sword here, which is rounded off for combat, that's my first Viking sword I ever earned and bought. This one is for display only, and I'm sure you agree that is very nice, very well made. It's got a little bit of felt round the top here, not very authentic. I could take that off if needed. It's just so that when it fits in the scabbard, it just fits nicely, and it's got a little bit of padding. But whether I keep it on there, I don't know. But let's hold it in my hand, and then you can have a better look. Also, the length of the hand grip is perfect for me as well, so it's not too short. And I do wonder whether you can get a combat version, because I'd love to own one of them as well. Let's just look up the blade. That's spectacular, that is. You can definitely see the oil on it. I'm glad when I bought it, it came with a scabbard and not a sheath. I'm sure you agree that could do some damage. In fact, look, I mean, it's stuck into that wood already, into that big trunk, and you know, I fastened it way in. So now we can see the scabbard which came with it, with this nice sword, and I'm sure you agree it's a lovely, lovely red leather. Very striking, and we often think about leather being brown and beige and boring colours, but no, they had the ability to dye leather, but also paint leather. Often you'll see in reenactments people have painted sheaths, but in this case it's very plain. Now, on the top mounting here you see a embossed pattern. This would be brass or copper, and it's probably been plated, I would say. It could be tin, but I imagine it's copper or brass and it's been plated. But we'll have to have a close look at that. And that's quite unique. I love that. That's got a nice feel to it as well. And then we have a mounting from wood. It's probably ash or oak, which is attached to the scabbard itself. So you can have it on your belt system. Although what I'll probably make for this is a baldric style harness system instead of using this here, because I don't want to weaken it and have it come loose. It's probably bonded on with the wood underneath as well, to be fair. And then if we go to the bottom, you'll see the bottom shape. Again, it's got embossing here, and then it's got these little round spheres of metal, which is very unique, and I like that as well. What do you think? I think that there is a very lovely, nice sword. And you can see where I've been working and doing some filming today. I got my wood horse out for the first time on camera and actually using it. I think it's been out a couple of times where I had it as a prop, but we never really used it before. So yeah, I mean, again, this came from CelticWeb merchant, so I can't see no brass at the end. So whether it's plated on both sides, and then you can see a little bit of foam padding. Originally this would have been sheepskin, but they put foam inside of it, which is why it's got such a lovely tight fitting on the sword itself. And I must say, that's very impressive. That definitely stands out, that does. It's probably a little bit brighter on camera than what it is in actual life, but it is a very nice mad red, and red is a very rich colour indeed. And yeah, it's got a slight dent there, I think, probably from travelling, but that's okay. I mean, over time, if this being used on camp, this will get scarred up and it will get worn. It will have an aged look to it. And again, whether this is mild steel or brass, if it's mild steel underneath and it's been plated, which it looks like to me, it's got plating on it, that could go rusty. So you have to look after your kit and look after your sword and your weapons. And again, there's always this myth in the UK that you can't own one of these because it's semi-sharp, although I can run my hand through it, but that's not true. You can if you're a collector or a re-enactor, but you must be sensible with the way you store them and never take them out in public, because you don't want to give weapon owners and collectors a bad name. So be responsible. So yes, a lovely 6th century migration period, early Anglo-Saxon or Romano British sword, and I must say, that is very, very nice. I just love, you know, how lovely it looks. And let's just test it against this log as I'm holding the camera with one hand and whacking it with this sword. I'm sure you agree. And there you go, look, it sticks in perfectly. And what a great way to end this video. So I hope you've enjoyed this close-up look at this new sword, which will come out after we put the main video where I unbox it for the 10,000 subs. So, yes, goodbye from me.